Opportunity to go to a lot of schools, but I want to stay here. I want to play in the ACC. And this was the second year that Little John was open. And I felt like this was the beginning of a new program. I grew up here in South Carolina watching Clemson football. One of my father's best friends played football here, and many others, and coming over to games, watching the loyalty of Clemson, the family of Clemson. You know, we talk about family, and as athletes, we talk about the family. But the whole Clemson family, not just the athletes, but the whole Clemson family, is a spirit that transcends about anybody else around, and then is even more prevalent among the athletes. And you know, like here, we're trying to help out a former teammate. This is just another opportunity for us to get together. You know, it's like we always say: the older we get, the better we were, and we like to get together and talk about it. And this gives us that opportunity to do so.
I've always wanted to ask this. You know, we talk about big man on campus, and when you got here, you were literally the big man on campus, the biggest. Yep. What was it like for you? I'm sure you were drawing stares, people coming up. You know, did you get the question, do you play basketball? I mean, what was it like when you first got here?
Yes, it was exciting. You know, I came in and I was the most recruited athlete, and everybody knew me and everything else. And unfortunately, I let my head get bigger than my activities. And at the end of my freshman year, I had a .67 GPA. And you had to have a 1.7 to come back and be eligible. So thank goodness Clemson had a gentleman named Colonel Rick Robbins, who was the academic advisor, and served under Patton and was the meanest man walking. And he was kind enough to take me under his wing. Put me through an unbelievable summer school session, and I was able to come back and graduate on time. But it was very difficult that first year because the basketball team roomed underneath the fraternity houses. So, you know, you cut loose a bunch of freshmen first time we've been away from home, and you know, everybody's loving you because you're a basketball player, and we're at all the fraternity parties. There just wasn't time to study, you know, and I paid for it dearly over the next 3 years.
That's what I tried to tell my parents.
So I know somebody asked a question earlier about what can we do. One of the things we want to do, and I think it's important for us to get back and spend time with these young players. You know, one of the things, you know, I just turned 7 years old. I've been in business, operated business for the last 30 years in my area. Had the opportunity to work with a lot of Clemson graduates and even some former athletes. And I think it's important as we grow together as a family of all the athletes that we can help each other, mentor each other, help these young people find their careers and things, because there's a time when you hang up the cleats and you hang up the sneakers. And we've all been through that. So, you know, things like this give us the opportunity, and hopefully with more interaction among the young players now and the recent graduates, we can help them provide a better life for them and their families.
I've always heard that you're a great storyteller, so I'm glad that we've got you here today. What is your favorite, people wouldn't believe it, story from when you played or when you were here?
We're playing NC State. This is the first time we played against Burleson and Thompson. And, you know, everybody had heard about Thompson's jumping ability. And I fouled Burleson. He goes to the free throw line, and I got Thompson on my left. And Tommy hits the first one, misses the second one, and when he shoots it, he yells out, "Short!" And I turned around and I nailed Thompson. I mean, I let him hold one. And I said, "He's out of here." And I went up to get the ball, and just the ball started to settle in my hands. Two other hands came down like this and took it off, and I turned around and I thought I could kiss him on his belt buckle because he was right there. And I said, "We got a different ball game going here, boys." But we had so many great battles. I had the opportunity to play what I thought was one of the greatest times in the ACC with Maryland and NC State, North Carolina, Virginia, you know, Perry Parkhill, Tommy Mack, Lenny Elmore, Georgie Carl, Thompson and Burleson, all these. A great time. And I remember there was one stretch we played in 10 days, we played 4 top 10 teams. And 3 of them were in the ACC. But that's just how it was back then. And you know, to see that today, you don't see it that much. But to see Clemson's program being able to compete now at those levels just makes me proud from the time that I came, where we felt like we were building a foundation, to see the great building that our program is now. It just makes me terribly proud to be part of this program.
And then you only got one spot in the NCAA tournament, right? For all those top 10 ACCs.
Back then, we had freshman ball. You didn't get to play until you were a sophomore. And whoever won the ACC tournament, they went on to the NCAA. It didn't matter. And of course, that's why South Carolina left and all the other things. There's so much controversy. But there was another thing back then that kind of disturbs me today, and that is, back then, whenever you signed a scholarship, you had a 4-year scholarship. And I don't know if a lot of people realize, I talk to people, and that today, it's a 1-year scholarship. It's a 1-year renewable scholarship. And I have 3 daughters that all played college volleyball, and every year, every spring, you're waiting for that letter to see if your scholarship is going to be renewed. Even if my one daughter is freshman player of the year in her conference, but you still got to wait and see if you'll get that renewal. Trevor Lawrence's parents were waiting to see if he got a renewal for his scholarship because it's one renewal. And I think that is some contributing factor to the problems with this portal. I'd like to see the schools in the NCAA go back to 4-year guaranteed scholarships. Now you've made a commitment to that student, because every kid that you recruit to a school, you expect him to be an All-American. You expect him to be a great player. You expect him to come in and make a huge contribution. So give him a commitment to 4 years. And now maybe it won't be so apt to leave at the first little bite of a problem. And maybe you put back in the 1-year penalty rule. Whenever I was playing, I was not allowed to transfer. You couldn't transfer within the ACC or from the ACC to the SEC. So there was very, very little transferring back then. But then again, didn't matter if you got hurt, didn't get hurt, whatever, you still got your 4-year scholarship, and that meant a whole lot. That's what you were there for, and that is your degree. So there's my 2 cents on the portal. And I see Tim giving me the high sign. It's time to get off the line.
So, Dave.